Subscribe, hit that bell icon, and share this clip if you enjoy it. This is TRS Clips. I got into mathematics probably in the 9th and 10th standard after trigonometry was introduced.
I see.
And I realized how much trigonometry is there in our daily life.
Yes.
You know, everything's trigonometry. Basically, at the cost of making this podcast a little nerdy, which I believe it will become, and I'm glad it will.
Yeah.
It's little things like height. What's your distance from the height of a building? Therefore, what's the relationship with all the mathematical formulas of that equation when you're just staring at a building? And then I realized that the whole world, including these lights that are throwing light upon us, this is probably an octagon, right? Yeah, it's an octagon. And there's so much geometry, there's so much maths around us, which made me understand that the nature of mathematics is truth. As in, all around us, there are equations, there is theories, etc., etc. So I have two questions for you. One, what's your vibe about mathematics? Firstly, like in terms of this was my vibe, what I just told you. And the second is how much more is there to discover? Is there an infinite amount to discover from now on?
So, how did I discover? How did I get into mathematics? I mean, I have always been scientifically minded. I've always been fascinated by the stars and the cosmos and galaxies and all that. And that naturally, if I wanted to pursue this field as a professional, I would have to learn mathematics because that's non-negotiable.
Yeah, just 1 second. I just want to mention one thing. There's some people will tune out at this point because people have a negative relationship with mathematics. Did I up till the age of 13. After which I realized that mathematics is all about practice. Jitna you practice, utna you'll get better at it. It's like lifting a heavy weight.
Absolutely, that's what it is.
And once you lift enough weight up to a point, you become good at maths and then you start developing a relationship with it. So anyone who says, oh, I'm naturally bad at maths, you've just not practiced enough. And keep an open mind about this particular conversation.
See, nobody is naturally bad at mathematics. It's our teachers who have ruined mathematics for us.
Okay.
To learn mathematics properly, you just need the basic fundamentals down good. If you're taught addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, fractions, those fundamentals properly, you can never go wrong with mathematics. It's in your formative stages that mathematics is ruined for you. And that's why people are so scared of it. It's actually the easiest thing to learn if you're taught properly.
Yeah.
So even I had bad teachers. I remember when I was a kid, I was once trying to learn decimal points, and in a problem, I put 3 decimal points or something, So I also was at a point in time quite bad because I was not taught properly. But eventually I discovered what mathematics actually is. Like you said, it's the language of the universe. It describes everything around us. Once you make the connection, it becomes beautiful. And there are certain formulas and all that bring out the beauty of mathematics, like Maclaurin's formula. And there are so many more. I'll not go into that. But over time, eventually, by the time I was in college, I was quite good at it. And I wanted to get deeper into it. Mathematics actually can become an obsession. If you want to be a theoretical physicist, you have to learn only a certain amount of mathematics and then learn as you go, as you need. But if you just go deep into it, you'll become a pure mathematician and you may lose touch with reality because all pure mathematicians live in an alternate universe.
Why? What happens?
Because they are doing math for the sake of doing math, They are seeking problems to solve. And certain problems take years or decades to solve. Like, for example, Fermat's last theorem, it took people, I think, decades or more than a century to solve. So certain problems are intractable. Certain problems are very complicated. Some are in hyperspace and multidimensional spaces that we cannot even perceive.
You mean like parallel universes?
No, it's about hyperspace. Means we perceive the world in 3 dimensions: length, breadth, height. A 4th dimension may be time. But you can do calculations in n dimensions, like 10 dimensions or 12 dimensions, which oftentimes is just theoretical. It may not really have any applications, or maybe not for 100 years. For example, the work Ramanujan did 100 years ago, now we are seeing some applications of that in fields like string theory, etc. So sometimes mathematicians are always most likely a century ahead of the time, especially the best mathematicians. So your work is going to be fruitless in your lifetime, but in the future, it may be useful to to the people who come in the future.
Who pays them?
A mathematician, they don't produce anything tangible, so universities have to pay them, and they should not expect anything in return from mathematicians, like any discovery or invention. It's just abstract, That's what it is.
So they teach, I'm guessing, to earn their living.
Yeah, they have to teach to earn their living. You have to dance for your living, that sort of thing, You have to sing for your supper, that sort of thing. So that's the trade-off in academia. If you want to be a researcher, do research, then you have to spend a certain number of hours per week teaching and grading papers and all, doing all that drudgery, mundane work. But that's the payoff.
You said this thing about a mathematician's work is only applicable 100 years later. So the stuff you said about Ramanujan, it's used in modern day
String theory.
String theory.
Yes.
Now, what do you think today's mathematicians' work will be used for 100 years later? It's unpredictable, or you think it will be used to find some deeper form of physics or some deeper discovery in physics?
It has to be in the form of some deeper discovery in physics. Right now, what we have, the major problem we are facing is the mystery of gravitation. The 21st century was supposed to be the century in which we discover what gravitation truly is, a quantum theory of gravity, gravity at the ultra microscopic scale. But we haven't been able to make a single breakthrough. So I'm thinking that the mathematics that is being done now in the future may hopefully be used in that to figure out what gravity is like at the quantum scale. That is one of the biggest intractable problems we are facing today, right now.